Good morning again, everyone. Guys, we're going to talk about what's recently come out in the news now about Yvette Cooper, and she's come out and she said she's going to have a crackdown on hateful beliefs and hateful ideology. Now, this comes, they're going to label this as a crackdown on hate speech. Now, all these things sound great. But let me just give you a quick, a little share with you something that happened to me recently. I was it was maybe two years ago now or something. I was in a car crash. My shoulder was in absolute agony. I went to the doctors, and guys, if you live in the UK, trying to get a doctor's appointment is near on impossible. You have to phone up at 8 o'clock in the morning. You're then put on hold. You have to deal with the Karens who work behind the counter at the reception, and if they see it fit that you're in enough pain, then they may or may not give you a doctor's appointment, and then you may or may not get the assistance you need. So anyway, I actually went into the doctor's, and my guys, honestly, my shoulder was in absolute agony. I've never felt pain like it before in my life. So I said to the woman, I said, honestly, I'm in so much pain. And she said, oh, well, you're going to have to phone up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I said, love, my shoulder is effing killing me. And there were three of these ladies behind the reception. And she said, oh, we don't accept you swearing at me. He swore at me. And then they was all looking at each other saying, yeah, he swore at you. I said, love, I didn't swear at you. I said, and I said it louder, my effing shoulder is killing me. That's not swearing at you. Anyway, she was really angry. The doctor came, and I told the doctor exactly what I said again. By this time, I've made there's a scene, and people are looking at me, and I'm like, no, I didn't swear at you. I said I used a word, an adult word, to describe the pain in my shoulder. I didn't say it nasty. I just said it because I was in a lot of pain. You've made a big do out of it. So then, anyway, the lady, she says, well, you can't use that language here. So I thought, okay, then, me being me, I said some really bad words to her then in Russian. I said some even worse words to her in Ukrainian. I then proceeded to say some bad words to her in Arabic, or my dialect of Arabic that I speak, which is Baghdadabic, and she looked at me and she says, well, I don't know what you just said. I said, no, I know you don't. Anyway, that was kind of my little tick, I think, to go back at her. Anyway, let's just keep that in mind, the relevance of languages and understanding the context around language. You see, when I first went into the, into the doctors, I didn't swear at anyone. I used a word to describe the pain in my shoulder. However, the lady perceived my word to be, for me to be swearing at her. It clearly wasn't. Then the three of them, like cackling hens, they all agreed that I'd swore at her. So I said, no. So I said, no, Anyway, the doctor had to come out, and I don't know why the doctor came out. The doctor came out. I told the doctor what had happened. The doctor was like, yeah, that's not swearing at you. He said it's, anyway, and then obviously that was dealt with, and then I used bad words in a different language, which they didn't understand. Now, you see the two contexts there. The first context, I didn't say any bad words to her at all. I used words that were, for myself, describing the pain in my shoulder. But she perceived them as bad words to herself. In the second context, when I used bad words in another language, they were really bad words as well. She didn't understand them. So she was fine with that. This is kind of the problem when we go down this road of hate speech and hateful ideologies and hateful words, because you have to understand the context behind all of this. Anyway, let's share this article that's just come out literally like a couple of, I'll tell you in a minute. I think it's today, a couple of minutes ago. Sunday, 18th of August, so a couple of hours ago. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper cracks down on people pushing hateful beliefs. Again, we need to identify what these hateful beliefs are, because I'll tell you where this is going pretty soon. Where are we? Like most things, guys, the important stuff is usually at the bottom. Here we are. So the Home Office said the scheme will look at the rise of both Islamist and far-right extremists. Now, who's going to be looking at the rise of Islamists? And what is their understanding of that language? Because, you know, from what we've just described, there's two incidents there where if you don't understand the language and you don't understand the context, you don't understand the meaning. So I feel there's only one of these, you know, I feel only what they're calling the far right, that's the only one that's going to get any scrutiny. And, you know, this because of the language barrier, as well as a wider ideological trends, including extreme misogyny. Again, I don't know what that means, or beliefs that fit into a broader broader categories like fixation on violence. Now, broader categories, that's the thing there, guys, all right? Because you can agree with all these. You're like, yeah, okay, we need to crack down on Islamists. We need to crack down on the far right. We need to crack down on misogyny and all the rest of it. And then they throw this one into the mix as well. Oh, yeah, and we're going to do broader categories. So that's the one that's of real concern because we don't know what it means. And then you look at the language they use here. Around 400 people have so far appeared in magistrates' courts relating to disorders sparked by misinformation surrounding the suspect of the Southport knife attack. Guys, you know, anybody who's watching this now and is reading this is how you start with extremism. This is how you radicalize people. People will be sat there now furious. It wasn't a knife attack. It was the brutal murder of 3 beautiful young girls. That's what it was. It wasn't a knife attack. And it wasn't the misinformation. Misinformation didn't spark these disorders. The murder of 3 beautiful little girls did. You know, and this is how people get, you know, and this is how radicalization works. And the government don't understand it. Miss Cooper said, for too long, governments have failed to address the rising extremism, both online and on our streets. We've seen the number of young people radicalized online grow. And guys, what they're doing is actual radicalization. When they misreport on things, when the government, you know, when the government misreport on things, and when they sit there and say X is happening, and we can all see that it's blatantly not happening, this is radicalization. So I think if the government wants to stop radicalization, you know, they need a free and fair police service that is impartial. They need to stop the two-tier policing, and they need to have a real understanding of what the people in this country want. And I think the people of this country want, you know, strong laws, robust laws that apply to everyone. It's not hard. And what they talk about radicalization online, I think what you see, they use these words and then the meaning of these words gets diluted. What radicalization online is, it's people getting angry online, you know, people seeing things online and becoming angry. Now, what you could also argue is people seeing other opinions online and becoming angry. Now, if there's a protest on, and you know, and it's been reported by mainstream if there's a protest, for example, and it's been reported by mainstream media that they're far right hooligans and they're thugs, and they're, you know, there's the reporter there saying, yeah, the far right, you know, and people are watching that on the mainstream, and then they're looking on their phones and they're seeing maybe 30, 50, 100 people live streaming, and they're seeing nans, granddads, little kids with their faces painted, all smiling. You know, they're thinking, okay, you guys are lying. And if you're going to lie about this, what else are you lying about? What else are what else are you telling me is wrong? And that is radicalization. So we're going to have a situation pretty soon where we, you know, as they're saying, they're cracking down on hate speech or hateful ideologies. Who decides whether they're hateful? Who decides whether this is hate speech? Who decides whether that word is offensive to another person, or whether somebody's trying to insinuate, you know, violence of whatever matter? You see, what will happen is the first few iterations of this will go through and it will have a huge scrutiny, and, you know, lots of government ministers will be voting on it. They'll be saying, oh, yes, this, and it'll seem robust. after a couple of years, when we forgot about this, you know, what that will do then, that will be filtered down to private companies. Private companies will be then doing that online, and they will send this information straight to the police, and then you'll get a knock on the door, and then you'll be sent to the gulag because of what a private company said. Guys, this is absolutely terrifying times. And you know, and a lot of people don't understand the ramifications of this. At what point are they going to look through our personal messages? At what point are they going to interpret a post? At what point are they going to misinterpret posts that you put online? You put online something about, I don't know, Happy St. George's Day. What is that? Is that going to be interpreted as, you know, far right hate speech because St. George symbolizes the Crusades? The Crusades are, you know, was against, was in the Middle East. Then we're going to identify that with far right ideology. So you've said, Happy St. George's Day, you're now in jail for 6 months because you have been spreading hateful ideology. So then what's next? Anybody with a St. George's cross? Are we going to take the St. George's cross out of the Union flag? Guys, this doesn't end well for anyone. And the government can't understand that their policies that they're putting in place now are radicalizing people. They are making people angry, you know, and they don't understand it, or they do understand it and they're wanting that to happen. Guys, absolutely insane times. But that's it, yeah. And that's the way this free speech thing is going to go. There's no other way it can go. And like I said, I think there's a few commentators that are now using the same analogy that I used. You know, if you've got a pan and it's simmering, the best way to stop it simmering is to take it off the heat. And what the government are doing is they're clamping a heavy lid on this pan. It's going to be okay for a while, but those resentments, those those hostilities inside, they're still going to grow, they're still going to have heat, they're still going to have energy. And the more that energy builds up, the inevitability will happen. Guys, that's it for this morning. Well, I'm gonna Max the grid now, guys, and I'll give you another update later on today.